pop-up notice. There it is. There it is. Got it. Recording in progress. All right. Well, first things first. Talon already welcomed everybody. I'm Brandon Bruce. I'm in Knoxville. I'm co-founder of Uncat, which we'll be talking about a little bit more later. But we want to kind of kick it off. And Talon prepared a great list of poll questions. So I'll let her introduce herself and kind of start. But that'll give us a good baseline to set the stage for what we want to talk about today.
Yeah, thanks, Brandon, and thanks everyone again for joining us today. I am the COO of Tinq. As I mentioned, I'm based in California, really excited to learn more about you guys and give you guys some tips on time saving. So I am actually going to launch a poll for us. So stay tight. You're going to see just a few questions for us to get to learn a little bit about what it is that you need some help with when it comes to time saving tips or technologies or how to automate. So you should see a poll of about 6 questions, very, very simple, but go ahead and give us some info about you and how things are going for you in your organization today. And we'll just give it a quick minute. And
there's no wrong answers. That's good.
There are no wrong answers. That is good.
Filling it out now.
This is not a test. We just want to learn a little bit about how we can help. So administrative tasks, how can we help you streamline your business ops? How are you tracking things today? Okay. Got some good answers. So I'm going to give it a couple minutes more to get some more of those answers there. So it seems that a lot of you are spending a good chunk of your time doing administrative tasks. The majority of you are spending over 5 hours a week doing admin. A lot of you all need some help with team productivity. Actually, that second question is a good mix. Financial management, all of the above. And we have users that have quite a mix when it comes to how they're doing payroll. We have some doing spreadsheet tracking, some have some software, some manual time cards. For uncategorized transactions, taking you a lot of time, more than 5 hours a week to track that. Accounting software, UBO is in the lead.
It usually is.
We have some using Xero. And great. How do you get the information about your clients with uncategorized transactions? Google Sheets, Excel for the win. Some people are loving Uncat as well. Already have some users there. All right, cool.
Winning.
There you go.
But yes, typically, yeah, spreadsheets are always in the lead. That's why we built Uncat. So very cool. Yeah, thank you all for sharing.
Thank you all for sharing. So we're gonna go ahead and close this poll in 5, 4, 3, 2. Get your answers and 1. Thank you guys all. That really helps us kind of create the landscape for today's call. All right. So without further ado,
you got some time-saving tips for us.
I do. So I'm going to go ahead and just quickly share my screen. I do have some time savings tips for you all. It seems that we're spending a lot of our time doing some administrative tasks. So just some quick 3 tips. I'm going to go ahead and share this. So quick 3 tips for y'all. All right, SMART goals. You may or may have not heard about SMART goals. SMART goals are specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound goals. I'm going to pause there actually for a second. You may want to actually take some notes here. These are very quick tips, but they can change the way that you do things on a day-to-day basis. So, all right, SMART goals. So though it may not seem like a time-saving tips at the beginning, it really helps you in the long run because it helps you clarify the priorities of your goals, monitor the progress, and ensure accountability. So you're staying laser focused on the end goal. You have all of the key elements of the goal, making it measurable, making it time bound. You know exactly when you have to achieve these goals. You know exactly how to allocate resources and time. So this is a perfect way for you to set straight what you're doing for that week, for that day, for that month, what have you. And your team is with you along the way. It is completely clear what you guys have to achieve. SMART goals can be used as micro or macro as you like. They can be very mini goals. They can be across the organization. They can be client-bound goals. So it can be what you want them to be. I provided an example here for improving customer satisfaction. So maybe you want to up your score. So we see that this example is specific, it's measurable, it's achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Improve customer satisfaction ratings by 25% within the next 9 months by training employees on effective communication skills, responding to customer inquiries within 24 hours, and gathering customer feedback. So again,
I got a little sidelight to this one, which is kind of fun.
Please.
Most people haven't done this, but I had a great experience with it at the last company I ran, which is we brought in a local theater troupe and we did a whole morning session on improvisation. Best possible training we got for sales and customer service, because it was all about fast twitch interaction with customers. And the whole basis of improv is yes and, right? You're never responding with like, no, you never break the spell of what's happening on stage. So customer comes at you with some crazy idea or response or some weird, and it's like, oh yes, and, right? Yes, we don't do that, and we can do this other thing instead. And so anyway, we had a great session with it. I ended up doing a whole bunch of improv after that because I liked it so much. But that's sort of a fun random idea that you can try if it resonates with you.
It's actually pretty popular nowadays. So I love that. Thank you for sharing. Yeah. So again, SMART goals are what you want them to be. This is just an example. Make them measurable so you know exactly what you're tracking on monitoring progress. But our next tip here, organize and prioritize. Organize and prioritize. I'm going to share a statistic with you. A study by the University of Illinois found that people who prioritize their tasks are able to complete them in 35% less time. You guys, 35% less time than those who didn't prioritize. That's a huge chunk of your time. Imagine getting 35% of your time daily, weekly, monthly. So how can we do this? Well, some things that I've seen be helpful, creating calendar blocks. You know, everyone works differently. This is something that works for me. It may not work for you, or you may already be doing it. But blocking your calendar to actually focus and dedicate time to specific things works. I know that we all have crazy things that come up, ad hoc meetings, pings here and there, but really try your best to focus that time for the exact thing that you've planned it for. I love color coding as well. If you like seeing a pretty calendar of things, color coding helps me focus on what exactly I'm doing, whether it's client focused, whether it's internal, whether it's the type of thing that I'm doing. Calendar blocking works. So for example, blocking time to actually do emails in the morning. Maybe that's a great time for you to do emails. Blocking time for invoicing. You know, just going through your calendar and really organizing that to block your day really helps. I think something that we don't notice and we kind of do automatically is we're trying to respond to so many things at once, right? We kind of have this like app distraction where emails are coming through, Slack messages, what have you. So think about that. When you're organizing and prioritizing your time, you may not need to respond to that email right away that comes up. You may not need to respond to that message that has come up talking about a funny GIF or meme, right? It's taking away from your focus. So just keep that in mind, calendar blocks. I have what's called prioritize the 5. So each day I choose 5, but you can choose 3, whatever works for you. Prioritize the 5 top things that you want to accomplish in those days. They can be as small or big as you like, but you've established that those are priorities and you're going to get them done. All right, not following the chat. Do we have anything in there, Brandon, that I need?
Gary just said it's hard to believe it's 35%, and it is, and yet at the same time, right, if I think about once I decide to do something, there's the ramp up to doing it. You got to get ready, and then you got to do the thing, and then you kind of ramp down from doing it. And so if you spend a lot of time not even ramping up and just thinking about, well, do I want to ramp up on this, or this? I'm not sure. But in the meantime, I got 100 emails coming in and a couple of support tickets and some sales demos. And it's like, maybe I never even decide what I'm going to work on that day.
True.
So that I can believe 35%.
Yeah. And you know, another thing that tends to happen, we tend to work on things that we like to do, and it may not be a priority. I've caught myself doing that sometimes. So think about that. Maybe just take a second and reflect. How are you organizing or prioritizing your day? And see if those are your real true priorities. Last but not least, automate repetitive tasks. Think about how many things you do that are just kind of, go with the flow. I'm going to share a statistic with you. According to the McKinsey Global Institute, automation can free up as much as 30% of the time currently spent on work activities. And again, huge chunk of time. Now, depending on whether you're a business owner, a leader, accountant, this can be different things for you, right? On a daily basis. Software can help. We have Uncat, we have Tinq, we have a lot of other great software out there. Use software to automate these repetitive tasks. Data entry, we took a poll. The majority of your time you're spending in a week, over 5 hours you're saying, is spent on doing data entry. Reporting is another huge one, whether you're reporting for internal, whether you're doing forecasting, budgeting, external reporting for your clients, that's also a huge one. If you're an accountant or a business owner, invoicing and payment processing, these can be very manual things. It sounds like we're doing some spreadsheets. So think about some of those things that you're doing all the time that you may be able to automate through software. And lucky for you, you guys have joined us today. We're going to show you some software that can help you actually automate. And we're going to actually kick it off with Brandon. Brandon, you want to kick it off and show us about Uncat and how we can actually automate some of those repetitive tasks?
I do. One quick request is let me share my screen. So I don't have permission to do it yet. But you have the power.
Permission to do anything.
You've got the power to give me the permission.
I'm sorry. Here we go.
You're good.
Did that work?
Let's see. Yeah, it did.
Awesome.
All right, let's go. So really, this is a perfect segue. A couple years ago, I was having lunch with a new friend named Adam Slack, who runs a big bookkeeping firm here in Knoxville called Two Roads. And we were hitting it off, and he was telling me how he runs this firm. He was the first firm of the future that Intuit designated back at QuickBooks Connect in 2016. So thriving, growing firm, lots of tech, lots of processes. And I said, wow, it's really fascinating. I was running a sales software business at the time. So we were kind of swapping stories. I said, what are the things that you're still working on, right? That bother you, that hurdles? And he said, honestly, the biggest thing is these uncategorized transactions. Pretty much every client has them. And so we end up exporting and emailing out about 350 spreadsheets a month to all of our clients. And to be honest, the clients don't love receiving them. Some of them don't respond. Some of them, it's hard to respond because they're working in their business and they can't get back to the computer to fill out a spreadsheet. And he said, and when our bookkeeping team gets it back, we don't really love receiving them back. I mean, we need it because we need the information to close the books, but we got to manually copy paste all of the client answers back into QuickBooks. And that is not great work. Like, we'd rather be doing higher level advisory than doing data entry. like Talon described earlier. So his proposal to me was, hey, do you think we could build an app for that? Do you think we could sync uncategorized transactions from QuickBooks into a platform, automatically notify the client when we need their responses, a little more clarity? What is this transaction? Get their responses and then categorize the transaction and sync it back into QuickBooks. And then the work would be done. And we wouldn't have to spend any time running reports, emailing Excel spreadsheets or Google Sheets, getting responses back, copy pasting the data in. We'd save a ton of time, and honestly probably make the clients happier too, because they don't love receiving spreadsheets. So that's where Uncat was born. Obviously, Uncat is short for uncategorized. It also gave us the excuse to use a cat as a mascot, or as we affectionately call it, our mascot. So we have the cat riding the pony through the desert. I was really envisioning an image showing a person herding cats, and instead I found a cat doing the herding, which was ironic and makes people smile. Our graphic designer also, I think, did a nice job with our logo. If you take the U of Uncat and turn it 90 degrees, it's a question mark. So that's our little homage to like the FedEx logos, right? That has an arrow going forward, indicating progress of your package. Ours is, hey, it's a U that's a question mark because we don't know what the transaction is. We need some information back from the client. This is uncat.com. This is where the journey starts. So I know some of you use it already. Super awesome. Thank you for being here. For those of you that are still sending spreadsheets, I can pretty much guarantee this is going to save you time, and it's a very inexpensive app. It's just $5 per client per month. So it's easy to use. It'll save you a lot of time, and your time certainly is more valuable than the $5 cost. This is where the journey starts. So if you like what you see today, click start a free trial. We'll send you a Starbucks gift card to say thank you for trying it out. You can invite as many clients as you want, invite your colleagues, and test it out. Make sure your clients like it, make sure you like it, and it helps you save time every month. I will say this, Uncat usage is super high right now, which is good. Platform is really solid because it's a year-end close. A lot of people are closing the books on 22, getting ready for tax filing time. And plus right now, this week, they're closing January. So busy time on the app. We're seeing a lot of transactions. To put it in perspective, last year, we helped accountants and bookkeepers and their clients categorize about $450 million worth of uncategorized transactions. So sometimes people are like, oh, there's a few here and there that we don't know where to put. It's actually a lot. It's not unusual to see a client in the system with over $1 million in Ask My Accountant. And that is a pretty decent way to trigger an audit or a review. And of course, not to mention that you're not going to have accurate budgets and financial reports, et cetera. So we try to add value in that way. When you start a free trial, you'll set up an account with Uncat. You'll sign in to your accounting platform. We support QuickBooks Online. That's our flagship integration, QuickBooks Desktop. So for those of you, if any of you are using desktop, we integrate with that through the QuickBooks Web Connector. And we also sync with Xero for any of you that chose Xero in the accounting platform during the poll. Okay, so that's how you get started with it. Super easy. You invite the client, and then all we send the client is a magic link. And that's the key. When we first launched, clients had to create accounts, and that was a mess. Clients don't like new software because they have to remember a password, and that's hard. And even to reset the password, sometimes mistype the email address. And so it was kind of a mess. So we decided to go with a magic link strategy. So we email your client a magic link. All they have to do is click the link. They never have to create an account. They don't have to download an app. They don't have to set a password. And when they click the link, it's going to take them straight into Uncat. And this is a view of the client side of our software. So it'll pop up a little instructional video and walk them through it. But essentially, they'll see a list of transactions, and they'll be able to enter a description, right? What was this $67.11 transaction at Applebee's? Well, we can safely say it was probably for food and drinks. The question, though, is who was it with? What was it for? Why did you have that meal? If it was a family meal versus you took out a client versus it was a member of your engineering team, the same meal, 3 different categorizations, 3 different tax treatments. So they can put in a description. They can add a message back and forth with you if they need to get clarity on something, or you can post a question to them using this messages feature. And they can also attach a receipt or other document. So if it's a deposit, maybe it's a PO or a contract, most of the time folks are uploading receipts on expense transactions. So once they've added a description, optionally a receipt, they can click save. It'll sync into, I'll use QuickBooks as the example platform. It'll sync into QuickBooks. It'll show up on your Uncat dashboard. And once a day, we'll send you a daily digest that says, Dear Brandon, it'll say your name. You've got 7 clients that have updated 49 transactions. Click here to go into Uncat. And you'll come right in here and you'll be able to see your clients. Let me show you the Acme since we were just looking at it from the client side. This is going to show you it's been client updated, so it's highlighted. We'll show you the description they entered. Here's the receipt that they posted on there. And then you'll be able to go in and based on the information they provided, you can then categorize. You can choose a class if you want to. You can see additional fields by expanding the transaction here, choose a customer, choose a location. You can even toggle on tax. If anyone here is from Canada, then that would be like a drop-down menu of tax rates that you could choose from. In the States, usually it's just a toggle switch on or off. And then if they've done some additional changes, you can approve those changes. So you can delegate to your client the ability not only to provide a description, but also even to categorize the transaction or to put a class on it or choose a vendor, et cetera. So if you let them do any of those things, their selections will sync into QuickBooks, but you'll be able to review them first here in Uncat before you approve them. And so if they've made an error or you want to override their selection, you can do that here and save it in. As you would expect, you can sort and filter these columns by clicking on them. You can search for specific transactions. So a popular one, obviously, well, I'll share with you some of the data that we see in aggregate coming through the platform. We see a lot of expenses from big box stores. So Amazon, Target, Walmart, Costco, Home Depot, Lowe's. We see a lot of deposits from Venmo and PayPal and Cash App, Stripe, Square, and of course, just good old fashioned cash. So typically for those, you just need information back from your client in order to put it in the right bucket. You can select a transaction if you want to, like this Amazon one, and then I could come up and split it by category or by class. Alternatively, you can select multiple transactions, and then you can apply a bulk action. Like I want to do the same class across all the selected transactions. That's helpful if the client has gone and made a bunch of related transactions, like at a conference, or a bunch of purchases for one of their customers, and they just want to apply the same rule to all of them. So that's the dashboard, and all this is powered by settings, and you can customize Uncat for each client that you have. You can choose which accounts we're syncing in to Uncat. So these are some usual suspects: uncategorized expense, income, asset, ask my accountant. You can choose to sync in transactions that are missing a certain field. So even if they're already categorized, if they're missing a class and you want to get that information back from your client, you can do that here. And you can choose how far back you want to sync. Maybe it's just for this year, but maybe you need to go back an additional year and do some cleanup for a new client or in preparation to restate some taxes. We notify clients by default weekly. You can change that here if you wish. Weekly tends to work really well to get responses from clients. The normal firm cadence of sending it out monthly, the downside of that is you get a lot of shoulder shrugs, like, I just can't remember. And I was in that position when I ran my last company. I would get a spreadsheet from our CFO and be like, I don't know, I traveled 5 times this month. I have no idea what that trip was about, what I did. I mean, it's like 20 days ago, but I can't remember. So doing it weekly is a good way to get quick responses back from your client. These are the dashboard settings. This is where you can control what the client can do. So here they can just update a description it's required and optionally a receipt. If you toggle this switch on, now you can control exactly what they see, what fields they can update, and which ones you want to require. So here the client is now required to enter a description and the class. Totally up to you. And these are your client users, right? For a very small business, it might just be the founder or a couple co-owners. For a medium-sized business, you might have several users. This is an example where the admin user for the client will see all the transactions. But meanwhile, this user down here is only going to see expenses that originated on their credit card that are uncategorized, because they're the best person that should be able to hopefully answer for those transactions. But if they're out in the field, they may not know what's happening at the home office. And so we don't need to show them all those transactions. So you can limit what different client users can see based on credit card, payment accounts, or based on uncategorized accounts. So this user we envision is like an accounts receivable manager. They're only going to review uncategorized income. Pro tip, you'll see this user has a phone number. Highly recommend it. You may have, as we do, clients that aren't really doing email anymore, either because that's not their primary method of communication in their business, or they're just not used to it. It's generational. Text messages cut through. So if you put in a phone number here for any client user, we will send them the notification about their uncategorized transactions by email, but also by text message. They'll be able to click the link in that message. It'll pop open their Uncat dashboard on their phone. right? Safari on an iPhone, Chrome on an Android. Makes it easy to enter in quick descriptions. They can upload receipts from the camera roll on their phone. And probably about a fifth of the client updates we see through the platform come through on mobile phones. So that's client settings. The overall settings, super easy. This will just show you a list of the clients you've connected to Uncat. It'll show you a list of your colleagues. So if you work with multiple people in your practice, you can invite them here. And if you want to, you can assign them to only see specific clients that they work with. 3 permission levels. The firm admin controls the whole app. Client admins can invite clients and change settings, and team members just interact in the dashboard to categorize transactions. You can upload your logo, put in your firm name, and change the color of the app. That way it matches your brand. So when clients show up into Uncat, they're going to see your branding. They know they're in the right place. And billing, like I said, is super easy. It's $5 a client a month. So I'll pause there. I think there's a couple questions that I can jump in and answer, hopefully quickly. And then we'll go take a look at Tinq. Let's see. Let me scroll up to the top. Okay. Link to trial demo. I'll put it in the chat here. It's just uncat.com. You can get started right away. It's super easy. If it takes you longer than about 90 seconds, then we've done something wrong. It should be super fast because you're just creating an account and signing in to your accounting platform. Then you choose the first client that you want to connect. Some folks will test it essentially with their own books, but usually a client will come to mind. Like, I want to share this with my tech savvy client, or I want to share this with my least tech savvy client, or the one that has the most uncategorized transactions, or the fewest. Totally up to you. I say invite all of them. Test it out. Love the concept, love the logo mascot. Thank you, Dan. I appreciate it. We like to have fun. I mean, uncategorized transactions are fun enough, but we like to inject some cats into the mix. Desktop compatible, yes. So we have an integration with QuickBooks Desktop. It works through what's called the QuickBooks Web Connector. And so when you go to add a client, you'll choose the platform and you'll choose desktop, and then we take you through it step by step. Thankfully, it's pretty straightforward. It's a really nice onboarding my co-founder, Jared, built this past year. Related question, you can have clients from multiple platforms all in one Uncat account. So you might have 5 clients on QuickBooks Online and 4 on QuickBooks Desktop and a couple zero clients. Is no problem. You can mix and match however you want. How much storage space does Uncat need? None, really. I mean, we have storage to run our app on Amazon Web Services, but we don't require you to allocate any storage for us. We sync data with QuickBooks, right? Or with Xero. So we're sending information in there. And so it really just depends on if you've got clients adding like a lot of receipts and so forth, then those will go into QuickBooks, into the storage there on the attachment on each transaction. But otherwise, no additional storage needs on your side. Does it require a network to operate? Yeah, thankfully Xero and QuickBooks Online are online all the time. Basically all the time. They're rarely down. QuickBooks Desktop, we can only sync with it when it's available. So, you know, the server's got to be on and it's got to be connected to the internet. If it's not, we'll just wait until it comes back online and then we'll run the sync. But yes, we do have to be able to reach it over the internet. Is it safe from cybercrime attack? That's a great question, Mary. We could probably have a whole nother webinar on that. And in fact, I'll probably plan a webinar on that with my co-founder. So my co-founder, Jared, has a PhD in cybersecurity. So he's awesome to work with, super knowledgeable. So we'll probably do one hopefully to help firms around security, but he's done a great job of hardening Uncat to make it a very safe application. Do we have an expiration period, an expiry period? Rose, I might need a little clarification on what period you're talking about, but if you're talking about how far back do we sync, we'll sync back to the date that you choose or to the most recent date that you've closed the books. So let's say you close the books at the end of 22, then we're only going to sync back to January 1st of 23. If you need to bring in transactions from 22, you'll just have to open the books so that we can sync those transactions. Otherwise, we can actually see them through the API, through QuickBooks, but we can't edit them. So we don't bring them in because it would just be frustrating to you. You'd be able to see them, but you wouldn't be able to do anything with them. Virginia, question, can you use Uncat weekly or you'd have to wait until month end close? You can use it as often as you like. We have folks and Dan answered this question too. You can come in anytime. So you may want to come in, review some transactions, categorize the ones that your clients have updated. You might want to send a notification to a client. Your clients will typically come in when we notify them. So they'll typically come in weekly, but some clients with higher volume will show up a little bit more often. Let's see. How fast is the system? Pretty dang fast. If you make an update in Uncat and then you switch tabs and go into QuickBooks, you'll see the update that you made in Uncat. If it's an update in QuickBooks, typically that's going to come into Uncat pretty fast also. Mileage may vary though, because we rely on Intuit's webhooks. And so sometimes a webhook will get delayed. And so it could take a few extra minutes. But normally the sync both directions is very fast, and it's very safe to say going from Uncat into QuickBooks is basically as fast as internet. So it's essentially real time. Any recommendations for text messaging apps in Canada that have retained searchable conversation threads? That's a great question. I don't off the top of my head, Lori. I can give it some thought. I mean, there's a lot of SMS like platforms, right? If you're looking to put all of your clients into a platform, so you have a way of sort of blasting out messages. But if you're talking about threaded, then you might be talking about like for use in like customer support. So it's a great question. I know that Adam, my co-founder inside of his firm, uses an app called ClickUp. We did a webinar on some of the apps that he uses, and they use that for a lot of essentially client management, right? And that does have multi-channel ways to communicate with clients. So that might be worth a look. And there's a bunch of other apps that sort of fit into that workflow practice management category. And Dan, yeah, thanks for posting. Yeah, typically transactions will show up in seconds after you save it in Uncat, because we're going to send it in straight away, and QuickBooks always accepts it. So yeah, and yeah, Slack, a great point, Wyatt. Text message may or may not be the best method, right? So if you can get clients onto a platform like Slack and they're using the Slack app, they'll get the push notifications, and it's super fast, easy. It's all threaded. You can send emoji, all the things, plus files, etc., and probably a little bit, well, a lot better at maintaining historical records than like a big text message thread would be. Because even searching, you know, Apple's got a good search tool, but searching through my old messages on my phone is pretty fraught versus searching Slack is pretty easy. So yeah, great suggestion by Wyatt. All right, I'll pause there. If you have more questions, goes without saying, throughout the webinar for Talon or for me, just post them in the chat and we'll do our best to get to them all during the call. And if we miss any, we'll follow up. Talon, I think you're muted, but I'll send it back to you, and you can
Thank you.
You can take over. Let me
Great job.
let me stop my share, and I'll post a link to Uncat, but it's really easy. It's just uncat.com, and you can go in and check it out.
Thanks, Brandon.
You bet.
Super simple software that has a huge impact, I can tell. So thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
All right. So for those of you that have yet to use Tinq, I'd like to share a little bit about Tinq. So you can think of Tinq as your business suite for SMBs. And also, if you're an accountant, this is a great way for you to get your clients on board, to manage them and their teams effectively in one portal. So Brandon shared a cute little tip around how Uncat came about. So I'll share a little bit more about Tinq. So Tinq was really created to create a sense of equity in terms of the tools that are available to SMBs. Software can get super, super expensive and clunky. So we wanted to create something that was an embedded system of features that would allow you to track time, projects, and money. So Tinq was born, and we created a Tinq name. If you think of the old like punch clocking system, so Tinq is actually like the new, I guess, 2.0 of like clocking in. So it's like Tinq, it's a digital sound now. So that's where Tinq came about. It's an onomatopoeia. So I'm gonna share a bit about Tinq, its features. You'll see that it's completely modular, and we did that on purpose. We never wanted to really force any kind of licenses on anyone. So we wanted to make sure that this was a modular system, so you can really take what you need for you or your clients. So what we're looking at here is the Tinq dashboard. The Tinq dashboard provides widgets at a glance. It is completely customizable of what you'd like to see or what you don't like to see. For the purpose of this demo, I am going to be logged in as a super user, so I will see all things Tinq. But our dashboard gives us some information at a glance, as I mentioned. So at the top here, I have some widgets that are giving me some information about my team, what my employees are up to. So for instance, are my employees clocked in? Are they on break? Are they clocked out? I'm able to kind of toggle and understand how many hours have gone through specific times of time periods of time. I'm able to see all of my employees that have been onboarded or need to be onboarded. And then on the bottom here, I have some more information about my project and what tasks. So this is just kind of a cool way to see a glance of what's going on. As I hover over to the left, I'm going to speak through time and attendance first. So think of time and attendance as where you're going to get all of the features you need for clocking in, taking breaks, timesheets, and requesting time off. Our time and attendance feature does sync with Gusto and QuickBooks Online directly. So we have a direct integration, really, really seamless. The sync is almost instant. So let's talk through time and attendance. So time and attendance, we have our scheduling tool, which allows you or your clients to create shift calendars. You can just simply click in here, select the employees, any locations you need to. We also support multi-job titles and job rates. So for SMBs, that's super important as they're wearing multiple hats. You want to make sure you're tracking what they're doing and getting paid effectively. So if I need to select the job titles, my time, if I need to make that repeatable shift, I can do that. But you can see here, it's as easy as just clicking and my shift has been created. So as I'm going through and creating those my calendar or my work week for my team, I can go ahead and publish those and they'll simply get a notification on their app or SMS if you prefer. That's our scheduling tool. We also have timesheets here. So timesheets or clocking in and clocking out is supported on web, mobile, and we also have what's called a kiosk. Our kiosk is our standalone feature. So sometimes people prefer kind of one designated area to do clock-ins or take breaks. So that's our kiosk, and that can be actually implemented as easy as an iPad. So you set up an iPad somewhere or multiple places in your office or your organization, and people just simply come in and put a pin and then clock in, take a break, or clock out. What's really nice too is we have a facial recognition feature. So if you do have an iPad and you want to get rid of that buddy clocking system, we can make sure that the right person is actually clocking in at that time. So now that we're coming to timesheets, I want to show you how easy it is to just review and approve time and what that means when you actually approve time and how that syncs to like a QBO or a Gusto, for instance. So you can see here, I just selected my employees. I selected my pay period. All of the timesheets and my employees are here, so I can see all of their time at a glance, organized for me in specific categories. If I need to take a deeper dive, I can come in here and view all of the details, all chronological. Again, it tells me the types of time, whether it's overtime, regular time, paid time off. And once I'm ready, I reviewed all of the timesheets here, I can go ahead and click approve. So once I click approve, if I do have a direct sync to QuickBooks Online or Gusto, that information gets directly pushed. So no exporting, no importing, no reports, all of that information is just automatically pushed to me. So going back to that idea of repetitive tasks and automation, here we go. You're automating that timekeeping and you're pushing it automatically to those applications. Now, if you don't have the direct sync to QBO or to Gusto, super simple to just export this report and import it. Time off is just as easy. Employees can request time off on mobile and on web. So as those requests are coming in, you can simply, as a manager or an admin, go ahead and review that time, and you can approve or reject, and they'll get that notification directly in their application as well. We support multiple time off codes. All of that is customizable, of course, in the settings. So whether it's a paid time off or an unpaid time off, but you just want to track it, you can do so in our application. And time off codes are also, or time off requests are also pushed to the respective application. So now that I've reviewed time and attendance with you, I want to show you contacts. So we have the ability to also track contacts. So whether those are clients, vendors, or contractors, and for the purpose of being able to not only we track our employee time, but track what we're doing with our clients as well. So I'm going to take the example of our happy client. When I click into happy client, I can see everything that's happening with that client in one place. So I have the customer information, I have all the key contacts, I have any pertinent locations here, what projects I'm working on within that client, and anything that's taken place as far as invoicing, estimates, and payments. Invoicing, estimates, and payments I'll get to in a second, but I just want to show you how simple it is to really just have an overview of what's going on with happy client in that moment. So now that I have my happy client, I know that I need to create an invoice, an estimate for my happy client. I'm going to show you what that looks like. So my happy client needs Goofy's place to be renovated. So I'm going to click into that. I've already pre-populated some of this for you for the purpose of time, but I do want to show you some really neat things that we can do as far as estimates. So of course, your traditional estimate has all of the client information here, all of the estimate information here, but we have what's called grouping, and I love grouping. We have the traditional, of course, estimate if you like to just build it as a list, but grouping allows you to really create that transparency for your client. So if you need to group certain instances within that estimate of what you're doing as far as products or services against certain things, you can do that. So it's a renovation, so we're going to talk through grouping in separate rooms, right? So I'm showing my client exactly what's being allocated or serviced for the bathroom and what's being serviced in the kitchen. So I'm breaking down what the goods are, the amount of hours it's going to take for that service. I have my unit pricing. If I need to add discounts, I can do so. If I need to add any tax to that, I can do that as well. And again, automated tasks, repeated tasks, all of this is being automatically calculated for me. I can add some shipping if I need to. And it's as simple as just adding a line item here and selecting all of the pre-populated thing I've already put in the back end as far as my goods or my services. And if I have specific packages that I typically like to use, like I know that specific services or goods usually go together and I have a package deal for that, I can also create packages that I can come in here and do. So really, we're one size fits all, right? So I'm using this as really a service-based example, but if you're a business owner or if you're an accountant, you can really build this as you like and build those services and products in the back end. So now that I've showed you estimates, I'm going to go ahead and go to the invoice. So I've created my invoice. My happy client has said, hey, we're good to go. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to go to my project. So my happy client has said, we're good to go. We've signed off on this. Perfect. So now I need to let my team know what we need to work on for Goofy's Place Reno. So I'm going to go to my project management. So project management allows me to create projects that are internal or client bound, like my happy client project. I want you to just think of projects as a way for you to just track progress on anything that you need. I'm going to give you the example today of Goofy's Place Reno, but I'll show you some other examples that I think might work for some other industries. So I know for Goofy's Place Reno, we're going to work on a bathroom and a kitchen for this project. I've already pre-populated some of the stuff that I need to do as far as my estimates goes, but I do want to show you when we're going through my project here, all of these groupings, again, are customizable as I'm creating a line item. So let's say we're going to do installation of mirrors. Once I create that task, it's going to give me a task ID. It's going to give me the ability to create a due date. I can assign this to my respective team. And as tasks are getting assigned, they're getting notified. And I have the ability to create priorities, which is also completely customizable. We have high, medium, low, because that works for our project, but this can be 1, 2, 3. It can be get it done, whatever you want. It's totally customizable. This is going to be a high priority for my team members, Victor and Sharon. And I'm going to put pending because it hasn't been done yet. So once my team gets notified, they could come in here and I can see exactly what progress is being taken within that project and within that task. So Victor is going to get notified and say, all right, cool, I need to work on this installation of mirrors. I'm going to start working through that. I do have the option to actually track my time against tasks as well. So if that's something that's interesting to you, we can simply ask Victor to actually press this play button and track exactly how much time is being spent on that task. So we have all of those reporting capabilities as well that you can see. If that's something that you don't really want to automate, maybe you prefer to put in a note on how much time has been allocated to that task, you can do that as well. Do also want to show you that collaboration is super important when you're working through projects. All of the notes are available to you. So if Victor ever needs to come in here and add a note and say, hey, check this out, he can tag his team members here. He can add some documentation or pictures there. And like I said, if he needed to, he can also come in here and track his time manually about how much time is being spent on that task. So this is a great way for you to see how projects work for client bound, but sometimes we have needs internally as well. So I want to show you an example of potentially how you might use this for internal tracking. Hiring is a popular topic nowadays. So why don't we use projects for new hire training? So I created a project called Leo's New Hire Training. And I've created groups based on my 30, 60, 90 day tracking. So this is going to show me exactly what trainings need to take place for those 30, 60, 90 days. I'm able to create those training modules of what that person needs to accomplish, create my due dates, assign them to my team members, and again, create those priorities and status labels as well. You can do this for client onboarding or so forth as well. So just some ideas there. And then finally, once I'm done with my project, I have my estimate that I've created and I can go ahead and send my invoice directly through my Tinq app. So everything's been done. If I need to make any changes or what have you, but I can save and send this directly to my client. Automated, repetitive tasks, it's done. I know that we're running short on time, but I did want to quickly let you know that we have reporting capabilities for all of the timesheet features and our projects as well. My team has been selected. I'm going to go ahead and show you that all of these graphical reports allows me to see exactly how much time has been totaled for each of my employees. And as I mentioned, we do support multi-job titles and pay rates. So if I need to see Victor Kelly's total working hours and time off, I can see that, but I can also see that per job title. So what he's done as a trainer, what he's done as a brand manager, and see my respective costs for that as well. These can all be individually exported into these file formats. So that's really nice for record keeping. Or again, if you don't have a direct integration, you can pop that into your payroll system. Or what I like to do is also see a summary report. So I can come in here and pull a PDF of all of those employees, all of their time, all of their respective job titles, and so forth. As I mentioned, Tinq is completely modular. So I just want to, again, remind you, if you need time and attendance, you can purchase time and attendance licenses. If you need project management, you can purchase project management licenses, or you can mix and match. It's all user-based. It's per user, per license. So if you need some more information, tinq.com, you can also, I'll put my contact information in case you would like to get in touch with me as well. But thank you for your time. Want to see if there's any questions here. All right. Thank you, Wyatt, for the love on the dashboard. And looks like Allison's ready for some gift cards. So we have one more thing before we get to the raffle. Wyatt, if you're ready for us, I did want to actually quickly introduce you to a special guest that we have and we love so, so much. Wyatt, if you can come off mute and quickly introduce yourself. Wyatt is a good friend of mine and Brandon's, and we'd love the opportunity for him to come off mute and introduce himself and also his firm. So, oh, because I muted you. I'm so sorry. Let me unmute you real quickly. There you go.
There we go. Good morning, everybody.
I muted everyone. I'm so sorry. There we go. Hey, Wyatt.
Hello, thanks for having me, Talon and Brandon. It's always great to be here. It's fantastic, of course, to be interacting with everyone. Thanks for the introduction, Talon. My name is Wyatt Nieper. I'm the founder and CEO of Lighthouse Accounting Group here in Eureka, California. We've recently implemented Tinq and Uncat, and our management team has made the decision to roll out both platforms exclusively to all of our clients, strictly for the time saving. Each month, it's incredible to see how much time it saved our staff from the time tracking side all the way down to uncategorized transactions. At this point, with our current estimates in our clients, we're estimating it's at least one full-time position, which is absolutely incredible.
Thank you so much, Wyatt, for sharing that. And we love having you on board. We love working with Lighthouse Accounting Group. It's been phenomenal to see the impact that it's really made for you and your organization and your team. So really appreciate the support. And Brandon, now that you're off mute, I'm so sorry.
No, you're fine. No, I really appreciate it, Wyatt. And that is amazing. I mean, it kind of loops back to the tips that Talon shared at the top for time saving, because I have to imagine, right, for a growing, thriving firm like yours, it's less to do with, hey, we don't need that FTE anymore. It's, hey, fantastic, we've opened up some cap space so that FTE we can add more clients and grow even faster because we've got the right tools in the right place.
100%. And it's so exciting too, just to see the client interactions, and they're going, gosh, we get this nice email every month, and hey, we put in all of our time, we approve it, and then everything gets synced to our payroll software. I mean, clients are thrilled, we're thrilled, and we couldn't be happier with our partnerships.
That's awesome. No, it's great to hear. And I
yeah.
think that's what we're seeing industry wide. I mean, it's wonderful to be in the accounting bookkeeping space. And for those of us, Talon and I, that make apps, it's good to be in the accounting tech space, because it's less to do with folks looking for, cost savings. Like that's always great to get. And both of our apps, right? Tinq, amazing dashboard, like Wyatt posted in the chat, but the cost is so low. I mean, look at all the stuff that you can do. Well, for one thing, you can start using it for free, but then their next package is $4. And then if you want the full blown soup to nuts project management, all the things that Talon shared, it's $16 per user. So super reasonable. But the nice thing is all these apps are being stacked up in a tech stack, as we call it now, in order to help growth. I mean, everyone we're talking to is like, we can't add clients fast enough.
The scalability.
We can't
100%.
hire people fast enough. So it's a great space that you all are in.
Yeah. And thank you, Wyatt, for including us in your tech stack. I know that accounting nowadays, it's more important than ever to get things automated. You guys are stacked on what you need to do. So getting that automation is key. Getting your proper tech stack is key. So appreciate you for trusting in us and your partnership. So thank you for joining today. I did want to, should we do the raffle? Sounds like people are ready for the raffle.
Better before, yeah, we got 1 minute left.
We have 1 minute. So do you want to quickly, Brandon, I think you had a link that we were going to just kind of do this random choose for 2
Oh yeah,
gift
sure, I can
cards.
run it.
Cool. So we're going to raffle off 2 gift cards, 25 bucks each. And we also might have some other gifts for you here. So we might be feeling generous. So Brandon, you want to share your screen and or just do the random
just
generator?
got it running in a formula in the
All right.
background. So
Let's
it'll
do
just it'll tell me a name. So
All right, good luck, Chief.
switch over to that tab. And so the first person is Rose.
Rose, is she still here?
She's still here, or did she just jump off?
Oh.
I might have just lost
Does
her
that
touch.
count?
She probably had a meeting. Does that mean we have to draw again? Probably.
All right.
All right.
Let's do it for the people that are here.
All right, let's run it again. So I've got one for Brian Lee.
Brian Lee. Is Brian Lee still here? All right, that's
Everyone,
fine.
when I call their name, they quickly jump off
Yeah.
because I'm trying to do it based on list of who I can see on the screen, which is everybody that's still here. All right, we'll go fast now.
Okay. Go for it.
Allison Becker, she's still here.
Allison Becker, she was the one. Allison, you got a gift card. So we'll get in touch with you. We have your email address. So congratulations.
It'll be emailed. All right, cool. Let's run one more. And we've got one for Shane. Pop it.
Shane, still here? Yeah, Shane's still here. Congratulations, Shane.
Winner.
Winner.
Everybody's a winner, right?
Everyone's a winner. But thank you all. I'm going to type in my email address, guys, here. Feel free to contact me with any questions that you may have. I'm sure Brandon's going to put his contact there as well. I'm giving you a freebie if you're still here. If you are still here, you're interested in Tinq, I'll give you a free trial for you and all of your clients. So email me with subject line webinar, and I'll hook you up. So look into your chat. It's Tallinn, Tallin at Tinq, TINQ.com, and Brandon there, Brandon@uncat.com. Thank you guys.
This has been fun. Tallinn, thank you for hosting.
Thank you.
Let's do it again.
We'll do it again. Thank you all so much. Have a wonderful day. Let us know. And let us know if you need anything. We appreciate you. Thank you. Bye.
Cheers, everybody.